Morning. We're off out again for another walk. I'm glad I'm doing this actually. It feels really good to get out, and especially I'm in the UK, so we're not guaranteed to have this for very long at this time of year. I think the bad weather could be rolling in anytime soon, so we've got to make the most of it while we can. So today's video, I thought I would talk a little bit about some thoughts around ADHD and being online, being offline. One of the key things about ADHD is that it's an issue around executive functioning, and we think that people with ADHD could have up to 30% more of an issue with dealing with their executive function, or 30% less than neurotypical, however you want to frame it. So 30%, up to 30% I should say. It's not always the fixed 30%, and it kind of depends on what you're doing as well. If you've got that issue in the first place, you need to really guard your executive functions closely, protect them. Yeah, you've got to look after them. There's many ways that you can do that, and it's one of the things I do with my clients through my work, as I work with them and talk about ways that they can improve their executive functioning in their day-to-day life. But increasingly, one of the things that, and this is something I come across with my clients as well, is this. Sorry, I always just keep looking out for walkers and runners, because I'm still at that point where I feel a bit self-conscious doing this. One of the things that I think about, and I'll hear from clients a lot, is the struggle with their mobile phones, or technology in general, but really mostly mobile phones, because they are such distraction machines. And I think that's a good way of thinking about it, is it's a distraction machine. Actually really striking, something I heard somebody say the other day, and it's like, oof, that hits hard. That hits hard, just how much we get hooked on these things. And I will include myself in this. I'll be upfront about it. It's something that I've struggled with and still have to actively manage. Because I don't think we can, a lot of us, by default, do it without some form of active intervention. So what they said was, to get back to where I was going, if you in ADHD, you know how this goes with rambling and going off on tangents. What the person said was, imagine that you were an alcoholic, and you were drinking wine on the toilet, drinking wine in the car, drinking wine when you're driving, drinking wine when you're sitting with your friends and they're trying to talk to you, drinking wine in bed. Do you think that you would probably figure out maybe you've got a problem? Now, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say next. Replace that bottle of wine with your phone. To me, that really just kind of hit home just how addictive this device can be. And I'm actually using a mobile phone to record right now, because it's by far the easiest, cheapest and quickest way for me to make these videos right now. But I know I'm increasingly starting to look on my phone as a tool, not something that uses me. I use it, and in order to do so, we have to regulate our use of it carefully. So that's one thing, and I know you're probably going to say, well, how do you do that? And I think the answer is really quite complex, because I think it depends on how you use your phone, and in what, and why do you need your phone? Like, what's your use case for it? When you think about actually what you need to have a phone for, because you don't need, right, I'm just gonna be honest, unless it's for business, you do not need a phone for social media. And in fact, I would go as far as to say is, I think if you have ADHD, you might even want to think about getting off social media entirely, because I just don't think it's helpful. The reason that I don't think it's helpful is because all these systems and these social media platforms are basically wired to keep you engaged constantly. And you've got to remember that with ADHD, there's a deficit in dopamine, and these social media platforms and apps and things are designed to trigger dopamine release, because that's how they keep us hooked. That's how they keep us hooked. The sun is bright today, and it's lovely. It really is lovely. So yeah, it's how they keep us hooked to these things. And because of infinite scroll, we can just keep going and going and going. So yeah. So it's like, I think of it as like a lottery machine. Lottery machine? Is that the right word? Slot machine, like casino machine. You just keep pulling that lever, Give me some more dopamine. I'm bored. I'm tired. I'm lonely. Take away the pain. Keep pulling that lever. So yeah, so it really is disadvantageous, I feel, for people with ADHD to be on social media. If you haven't ever tried it, I think it would be really good to take a break from it for a month and see what happens, see how you feel. Most importantly, when you're doing this, and this is the bit sometimes where we can sort of, all of us fall down, is we do things, but we don't really take any notice of what we're doing. So we just do it and go, it's all right. If you don't already do it, make a bit of a journal of that process and write down what the day has been like. What have you been feeling? That's the big thing. It's like, what have you felt? How do you feel different? What changes has it made for you to be free of that for a while? What did you notice happening? Because often when you remove the thing that you're kind of using the social media to fill up your time and to give you that dopamine that you want, what you notice is the thing that's been hiding behind it. So, has it been, is it loneliness? Is it boredom? Is it depression at your job? What are you, is your relationship really not that great and you're just masking it by doom scrolling and watching your phone? And it might not just be you, maybe your partner that's doing that as well. So yeah, I think the first thing to try would be just taking a little break. That way there's less pressure on you. It doesn't feel too, it's not a thermonuclear option. And you can always, reactivate your account after a while if you want to. I would definitely encourage people to try and, if they take a break, that's amazing. And whilst you're taking that break, delete the app off your phone, because that's going to make things so much easier. So the next thing I was going to talk about in relation to becoming more offline with ADHD is really trying to reduce the amount of digital products that you consume and use, because I feel like again, if you get into that world, you start getting distracted more easily. Whenever you get on a computer, it's just so easy to get sucked into doing other things. No, I'll just have a quick Google of that, and I'll have a quick look on Amazon for that. So trying to experiment with analog solutions to your problems. And I'll talk a bit about what that means. One example of this would be journaling, okay? So there's all sorts of journaling apps out there. Day One, that's a common one that people talk about. There's many more. Evernote, is that one of them? And I've tried some of them. But again, to my mind, all this results in is spending more time on your phone or more time on your computer, but the phone's the big one. Getting more hooked on it, being more dependent on it. What ends up happening then is it tends to end up coming into the bedroom as well, if it isn't already, because a lot of people journal at night. Some people journal first thing in the morning as well, which I think is a really good idea. Something I'm doing and practicing, making a more sort of sustainable habit. Probably do a splash of journaling after this with a nice cuppa. So day one, and like I say, it ends up you end up going on your phone, and maybe you're right, you do your journaling and whatnot, but then there's a real danger that all the other things are just a swipe away, and before you know it, a half hour's gone by, you've been pulling that dopamine handle non-stop for half an hour on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And you're going to bed overstimulated, and you can't shut off properly. You might be doing this and you might not even realise this is what you're doing, and wondering why you can't get to sleep easily, or why you're having poor disturbed sleep. Don't know if that records belches, but we'll find out, won't we? So the thing that you will find, or you may find, I found certainly when I started journaling manually by hand with a nice journal and a nice pen, it's just it's just a nice thing to do. So I get a hit of dopamine from how pleasurable it is to sit and indulge my thoughts and think, and plan. That's the other good thing, is end of the day, get some plan for what you're going to do your next day, what you need to cover your next day, which allows your brain to shut off better as you go off to sleep. But there's also just something, I think, about the actual thing of mechanically writing with a pen and paper that is very relaxing and soothing to the brain. And again, if you just want to think about what cognitive load, things that just occupy brain space, get in the way of concentration, focus, then keeping things as simple as possible, I feel, is really, it's just very helpful with this. And you can't get more simple than using a journal and a piece of paper and a pen. It just can't get any easier than that. It's just so simple and basic, and hard to destroy, hard to damage. You don't need anything fancy. If you've got a notebook kicking around the place, just start with that. There's loads of good ones that you can use. If you are a guy, I could recommend Mind Journal. They're fantastic. They're not cheap. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, but they are a really lovely product to use and to hold. And they've got some really great prompts to make you think and reflect better on your day. Other things that you could consider in terms of trying to make things more analog and more simple would be good old-fashioned books. Those things made out of dead trees, or maybe recycled dead trees even, would be even better, wouldn't it? So I've started to get back into physical books again. I went through a phase of trying to read on my iPad, and then I got a Kindle because everyone said, "Oh, get a Kindle, it's great." Don't enjoy it. just don't enjoy it. And as I said before, look at all them beautiful sheep. Look at that. Can you see? I don't quite see them actually. Are they? There we go. Lovely view first thing in the morning to see nature, bit of nature, make the most of it as we can. Bit of a hill, so I'm biding my time. Yeah, getting back to physical books again. But what I did to try and increase my reading, because my reading had fallen off a lot. When I was a teen and a young adult at university and stuff, I used to be a pretty avid reader. I'd get through, a decent number of books every year. I'd always have a book on the go, maybe two. Sometimes if there was like a fiction and a non-fiction one going at the same time. But now, I've gone back to fiction before bed, because I think it's much easier to switch off to fiction. When you're reading non-fiction, at least to me, I'm trying to take the information in, and if I've fallen asleep whilst I'm trying to take the information in, that's not really working with my executive function. If I'm reading a fictional book and I slowly drift away and forget some of what I read the night before, it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, you can usually pick it up again the next day, no problem. So I find reading fiction at night is really relaxing. But another little tip that you might want to consider if your budget can stretch to it. I've found that going for hardbacks and nice quality hardbacks where I can has really increased my enjoyment of reading the book. Again, we're looking to give ourselves some dopamine, right? We're not getting it from our phones anymore. So how are we going to find it somewhere else? And for me, I found it's helpful and it's helped my enjoyment of reading the book by really feeling like I'm holding and touching something really kind of, I don't know, something you can admire and marvel at the craftsmanship and making it, and perhaps, like some of the books that I'm reading, some of the really lovely illustrations that artists have added to the book as well. But just having something, that gives you more pleasure. So maybe more pleasure in the thing that you're already doing. If you're not reading, then you might want to give that a go. Give it a try, come in with your Kindle at night, try reading the book again, and just see the difference and see how much more you enjoy it, and also maybe how much more of it you actually take in as well. So yeah, real book. I was just thinking there, I suppose the video actually stimulates your brain a bit more than an e-reader, because you're engaging more of your senses in the process of reading. You're feeling it, feeling the lovely texture of the pages, maybe of the hardback itself, maybe the embossing on the hardback, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got the lovely smell of the book. Can't beat a new book smell if you like books. It's probably one of the best smells in the world. Maybe second to freshly brewed coffee and bread. You've got the auditory aspect of it too. The sound of the pages as you turn them. So it's a more sensory experience reading a real book. And it might be easy to dismiss these things because of convenience. That's often the reason we all give, isn't it? It's convenient. But unfortunately, I think convenience is the rush to the bottom. I think we need a degree of inconvenience in our life to really get pleasure from it and reward from it. So I think I'll leave it there for today, and we'll see what the next one holds. If you've enjoyed this, usual crack, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more. Check out the previous videos I've already done. Early days on the channel, but thanks for the support for those who have. See you next time.